So I'm going to do a preliminary walkthrough of some frequently made mistakes that I've seen for assignment 2A. There's, of course, more things we'll cover after I've had a chance to review everybody's solution, but this will get you started and hopefully can make sure that what you submit initially will be as close to being perfect as you possibly can make it. So first of all, make sure you document your code. Secondly, make sure that you address my comments from earlier assignments. For example, make sure you address comments from assignment 1A and 1B for assignment 2A, because we still run the unit tests and you have to pass them. And speaking of unit tests, make sure that all the unit tests and integration tests are passing. And if you have any problems whatsoever, don't hesitate to come to office hours and or post on Piazza. So a couple things, you don't need to allocate, or you probably shouldn't allocate the future list field up here when you define the field, but instead do it down closer to where you actually use that particular field. It's not strictly wrong to do it here, but it's better practice to do it closer to where you're using it. So please get in the habit of doing that. Down here, here's a real subtle problem. Make sure that you read the specification carefully and make the right call to pass in the right number of threads to the create executor service factory method. And if you read the comments, the specification right above that, which I've omitted here, but is above, then you'll see exactly what's being required. Here's a hint. Get bean count is not the right parameter to pass in there, or the right function to call in that case. Down here, this is for the grad students. Make sure that you initialize the M future list here at the point when you're doing the stream, and you don't need to allocate an array list to it. This is going to be handled automatically by the constructor that gets called down here, actually by the collect terminal operator. That will go ahead and construct the values and store them and return it back to M future list. So please make sure that you do that correctly. Also, please get in the habit of using method references, not Lambda expressions. Your compiler will automatically tell you to just do the conversion, or will do the conversion for you, in fact. So please get in the habit of doing that. And then this particular use of collect has the wrong collector. I'm not really sure what this was trying to do, but it's incorrect. So make sure you use the toList factory method to make a list collector here. Down here, this is subtle, so make sure that you use the rethrow supplier method correctly. There's various examples in my slides that show how to do this, so make sure you take a look at those. And you just have to kind of rework this a little bit. This is for the graduate student version. You have to use the rethrow supplier adapter method in the right way. And then down here, this is calling rethrow supplier, but it's not calling the get method after it in order to be able to get the result. So all of these things will fail the unit tests. And so please make sure that you understand what the problems are and have fixed them for the final solution. Down here, here's some subtle issues in shutdown now. So this particular expression in the if statement is not correct. You want to make sure that you cancel a future only if it hasn't already been canceled and it's not already done. So you need to think carefully about the right expression to use there. There's various ways to write this expression, but make sure you get it correct. Also, make sure that you only cancel the futures if they're not already canceled and they're not already done. So once again, a little bit more subtlety there. This is a nice use of streams to use filter, but make sure you filter for both it being not being done and also not being canceled. So just adding a few more things. That's a nice use of streams there. And then here's a real simple thing. Make sure that you call the right shutdown method. If you're having confusion about which shutdown method to call, please go back and watch the key methods in the Java Executor Service video, part 2, which talks about the various methods that are used to shut down the executor service. And once you take a look at that and you read the comment, you'll see very clearly what needs to be done. So that's a good example of going back and rewatching those videos, which are there for the purpose of helping you do a better job of getting things right. Let's take a quick look at some of the issues with acquire, Palantir, and Gaze. So first of all, make sure you move the call to acquire and the check for null outside of the try block, and that will simplify your code quite a bit. And once you do that, you don't need to check to see whether the Palantir is null before you call release Palantir. So you shouldn't even get into the try finally block if the Palantir that you got back from acquire is null. And you also don't need to have a catch clause. That's unnecessary. There's no benefit for doing that. And then I think this might be the last problem in the preliminary set of things here, but make sure that you put the gaze and release method inside the release Palantir method inside a try-finally block. And you also don't need to call manager.release Palantir this Palantir. You just have to call release Palantir, which is a method that does that other stuff underneath the hood. So hopefully that'll help get you over the hump in terms of getting your solution that you're submitting later today or later tonight for assignment 2A in good working order. I'm sure that there'll be other issues that arise after I review everybody's code, but these are the ones that I've seen so far. So please make sure that you address these before you do the submission, and that'll make your life easier. That'll make my life easier, and things will go a lot smoother.